If you're in your 50s or 60s and you're trying to stay strong and lean and sharp, your nighttime routine matters more than you think. Because after 50, recovery becomes the secret weapon. You don't build Healthspan just in the gym, but you build it overnight while you sleep. But here's the problem. Many of us and many individuals sabotage their sleep with habits they think are harmless, like late night eating, scrolling on our phones, evening alcohol, or elevated nighttime stress. And all these habits quietly destroy sleep quality, hormone balance, and recovery. Welcome to LZ23 Strength. We're going to be discussing this topic because we want to talk about 4 areas that fit men and women in their 50s and 60s do differently at night. And that includes 4 things that we want to avoid. They're intertwined, and they're not accidentally done, but it's an intentional, purposeful way of thinking and living, and they're free. So why not give them some thought and try to implement them in our lives? They're simple habits backed by sleep and metabolic research. They help us to optimize testosterone and hormones, which affect both men and women, growth hormones, fat metabolism, brain recovery, and overall longevity. So let's start with the biggest one about fit individuals in their 50s and 60s. They stop eating late. It's always very comfortable, especially after a hard day's work, for sitting down, maybe watching television, and later at night, and all of a sudden, all kinds of snacks might come out, and we're sitting in our recliner or favorite couch and watching favorite show and want to eat something. But if we want to have our metabolism follow a circadian rhythm, we have to avoid eating late at night. And most of the research indicates that we want to stop about 3 hours before we go to bed. So on average, if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, by 7, you really want to have the kitchen closed, so to speak. Ideally, eating supper at 6:30 would be ideal if we're trying to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Really, at nighttime, our body switches gears. During the day, it's ready to digest food, but at nighttime, the switch turns, and now it wants to be in repair mode. So eating late is going to interfere with that. When we eat late at night, we're interrupting that process. And research shows that eating within a few hours of bedtime can negatively affect our blood sugar regulation, blood pressure, because it disrupts the body's natural nighttime physiology. So we might have some indications or knowledge of these things, but when we see research over and over again, it's good for us to give it attention. So in other words, our body wants to be repairing cells and producing hormones, not digesting a cheeseburger or a cold slice of pizza from yesterday or whatever the case may be. And late eating has also been linked with poorer glucose control and higher calorie intake when it's consumed after melatonin levels begin rising. And melatonin is what we need later at night for us to get to sleep. So again, dinner 6 to 6:30, and then close the kitchen down. If we do that, then insulin drops, fat burning increases, growth hormone secretion improves during sleep. So a lot of this is geared towards our nighttime routine. And we might feel that, well, we worked hard all day, we deserve to kind of do whatever we want as the night winds down, but it's going to impact us one way or the other. And again, we're talking about individuals in their 50s and 60s that give attention to this, and it helps them to have a better quality of life longer. And that's what research shows. So we don't want to eat late. The second area is they reduce blue light at night. We're affected or really impacted by blue light, whether it's from our phones, from our tablets, laptops, television. They emit blue light rays, and these things have a a disrupting effect on us. It's telling our brains that it's daytime. And when it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, that's not what we want the message going to our brain. Artificial light at night can suppress melatonin production and disrupt our circadian rhythm, which is essential for sleep and overall metabolic health. And even worse, evening light exposure may cause a small rise in cortisol, the stress hormone that should normally be dropping before sleep. High nighttime cortisol leads to lighter sleep, more awakenings, reduced deep sleep. So here's what many high performing men and women do. 1 hour before bed, they dim lights. We don't want a lot of lights that's signaling that, hey, it's daytime. So dim the lights and then switch from screen time to maybe light reading, journaling, maybe even some light stretching. You might think of it as your sunset routine for your nervous system. And again, these are things that are free. Number 3, they limit evening alcohol. And this one surprises people. They realize, and I've talked to my friend at work that I bring up often, and his opinion, and he feels that some alcohol actually helps him sleep, and that's where it gets tricky because alcohol does make you feel sleepy, but physiologically it wrecks your sleep architecture. Alcohol initially acts as a sedative, but as the body metabolizes it, sleep becomes fragmented and less restorative. And it also interferes again with melatonin. We keep hearing that with the different things that we're discussing, that it interferes with melatonin production. And melatonin is critical for us as we're going to try to sleep at night. So it can delay the natural nighttime hormone cycle. And what's the result? Less REM sleep, less deep sleep, less recovery. And many people who've consumed alcohol later, they wake up maybe at 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, and that's because of the rebound effect that it has. So people who want to have a good nighttime routine and who prioritize performance follow one simple rule. If they drink earlier. They drink at dinner time if they're going to drink at all, or some try to reserve it for the weekends or just on social occasions, because when sleep improves, everything improves. Testosterone and hormones, which affect both men and women, and especially in this age group, energy, body composition, mental clarity, all these things are affected by it. The fourth point is that we want to lower evening cortisol. And that's finally what fit men and women think about. Most people don't think about it, and we have to learn about it to know about it. But we want to actually lower stress hormones at night. Our body follows a natural cortisol rhythm where cortisol should peak in the morning and gradually decline during the day. By nighttime, it should be at its lowest point. But modern society kind of interferes with that, and it disrupts that pattern because of late night work, emails, scrolling on social media, the news, which is filled with all kinds of terrible things. If those are the things that are consuming our time later at night, our cortisol levels are surely going to rise, and it's going to keep our brain in a fight or flight mode. And if cortisol is elevated at night, sleep latency increases, and that's the time between laying our head on the pillow and how long it actually takes us to fall asleep. Our deep sleep decreases, which is critically bad for us, and then our recovery is going to suffer. So instead, high performers again, they build a deliberate wind down routine at night. Simple example would be some light stretching, as we mentioned. Not going to go through some kind of big workout or stretching exercise routine, but just some light stretching, some breath work. It's always good to slow down and then do some breath work, some reading, some gratitude journaling. There have been statistics about individuals who at night write down 3 things that they're grateful for. It has such a calming effect on their system. And even earlier than that, after dinner, actually after each meal, we're encouraged to do it, but after dinner, a short walk is good for glucose control, and all of these things are going to help us. They shift us from the sympathetic mode, which is stress, to the parasympathetic mode, which is recovery. And that's when sleep becomes powerful. So think of a simple nighttime routine this way, as we've talked about these four areas. We want to stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. 1 hour before bed, dim the lights and reduce screen time. In the evening, we don't want to have alcohol if at all possible. Limit it or have it earlier. The last 15 or 30 minutes before we go to sleep, do something calming like breath work, some light stretching, some reading, maybe just even reflecting, journaling. And it's nothing fancy, it's all free that we all can do. But these small habits dramatically improve our sleep quality, our hormone balance, our metabolic health, and our long term longevity. Because Healthspan, it's not built on one big decision, it's built with many small daily habits that we carry out year after year for decades. So if you want to stay lean, strong, and sharp in your 60s and 70s and beyond, by all means, go to the gym, but also with the same determination, focus on your nighttime routine. And the, that's where the real work comes into play for us after the sun goes down. The cellular repair, hormone optimization, and brain recovery. And again, these are all things that really start to impact us in our 50s and 60s, and it happens while we sleep. So build a nighttime routine that works for your body, not against it. Appreciate you watching. Remember to exert yourselves physically, elevate your health, evolve in mind and body. Please smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. And again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.